Good evening.
Hello. What brings you here? Oh, now I remember. Hi. I'm Gary Lambert here on the sun-drenched beaches of Cape Cod, and David Gans is in Oakland, California. We wish we were really on the beach with you in Cancun, but this is a pretty swell way to enjoy this. This is night 2 of our mini-series version of Dead Air, just the 3 shows that Dead and Company are playing, and boy, are we happy to be doing this again, and boy, are we happy to be hearing this music.
Yes, indeed. Let me quickly run down the set list. It's another really, really strong performance, I have to say. Scarlet Begonias into Bertha into Good Lovin' to open. That's kind of amazing right there. Mr. Charlie, Black Throated Wind, Good Times, and then Dark Star into Fire on the Mountain. And I have to say, I think John really has that new guitar dialed in. I just really felt tonight he was doing amazing stuff. I enjoyed some what seemed like new instrumental ideas at the end of Black Throated Wind, for example.
Yes, indeed. And I texted with him earlier today, and he's loving the new guitar. Just beginning to explore the possibilities of it. And the rest of the guys on their customary instruments sound pretty good too. We have a limited time here, and as you know, we always have guests on here. We've chosen to pre-record because it makes it easier than rushing people in and out of a room during set break. And we pre-recorded an interview with some gentlemen who are new acquaintances of ours. And if you were watching last night, you became acquainted with them if you weren't already. So we just jump to that?
Might as well.
Well, last night was night 2 of Playing in the Sand. It was a night off for Dead and Company, but the momentum did not slack a bit thanks to the gentleman we have sitting right here. From Goose, it is a pleasure to welcome on keyboards, occasional guitar and vocals, Peter Anspach, and on lead guitar and vocals, Rick Matirotanda. And Rick, please tell me I got within the ballpark of pronouncing your name right.
Nailed it.
Oh man, I'm so relieved.
Very impressive.
Okay, I can go now. Anyway, David and I have to confess that Goose just recently came onto our radar. Mine a little less recently than David's. He's really a newbie, but I've been hearing you guys in bits and pieces over the past couple of years. Of course, had not gotten a chance to see you live because of that thing that was preventing people from going out to see live music for the last 3 years. But I've been hearing great things from friends that I trust. So last night's set was the first time I've seen you play a full show. I've heard live tapes and I've listened to your studio albums, which I really want to get to a bit as well. But I really liked what I heard last night, and obviously the audience at Playing in the Sand did as well.
And I liked it too. I have to say, I'm a songwriter, and that's the first thing I look for when I hear a new band is how are the songs? And you guys got it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That means a lot.
It doesn't matter how good your licks are if your songs don't work, and you guys got great songs.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's been a common, I think, I wouldn't call it a problem, but a phenomenon in what we loosely call the jam band world, which is not really a very satisfying label for anything. But a lot of the bands, come up with nice riffy figures that are a good life support system for a jam. But you guys seem really intent on crafting really good, coherent, storytelling songs with nice changes. And then you find places to open them up. And I assume that's really part of your intention.
It is, yeah. I like songs and like to try to, make them as best we can. It's really what I love about the Grateful Dead so much is how centered it is. They were on the songs, and the improvisation was really an extension of that, as opposed to kind of the point of it all. From what I have gathered, it was the improvisation felt like a celebration of the songs.
Yeah,
I love that philosophy.
Yeah, I think that evolved for the Dead and Wigs. I think they started off with almost no songs, and they would come up with these figures like the other one or the Dark Star figure, and then they would build a song around it. Later on, they got really good at writing songs, and they said, okay, it can open up here, and this is where the
Right.
bottom can fall out. Is that common to your experience as well as songwriters and as a band?
Well, yeah. So I mean, sometimes like a song can evolve out of like a improvisational type jam, and then you kind of like build it from there. Like Drip Fields, like a song off our recent album, was kind of like that. And you know, those are really cool moments. But then you also have like the moments where you're just like writing a song at home in your bedroom, and it's like you kind of are like, oh, realizing maybe this could be a cool instrumental figure here at some point. But yeah, it could go either way. It's fun to do.
Well, that's one of those things about this kind of music making is when you're composing, you're looking for those places. Okay, this could open up right here, or this could be a channel into another song, that kind of thing. I mean, the more possibilities you have for a given song, the more places, you can link it out. It's like, Dark Star connected to what, like 30, 40 different songs over the course of the Dead's career.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about it. It's like there's such a magic to the journey of their material and their shows and the way it all wove together. And yeah, that's one of my favorite things. It's just it always feels like a journey.
Since jam band is a pretty dissatisfying descriptor to a lot of people, including the people who play in this scene, I don't know if it was you guys yourselves or someone else came up with a really nice way to describe your music as indie groove.
Yeah.
And
It's kind of
was
a
that
fun-
yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a joke actually.
But it works. I mean, indie, I think, points to the songwriting centric notion of it, and groove, it points to the jamming section of it. And that's the thing. Bruce Hornsby said the thing about the Grateful Dead that made them so great was they had like this incredible book of original songs, and they did magnificent interpretations of other people's songs, and they stitched it all together with spontaneous music making.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Indie
it.
groove.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can also tell something about a band by its own, the musical taste of its members. And I've heard you guys you guys go from Radiohead to The Band. You've covered a bunch of The Band. Last night you did a cover of their cover of Marvin Gaye's "Don't Do It," but I know that you've done Lookout Cleveland and stuff like that.
Oh,
But
cool.
then you'll do Father John Misty, who also has joined you on stage, or it's really all over the map. And I guess that really speaks to the desire for eclecticism that exists among you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many cool things out there, and I've always enjoyed that. Going to different places and doing different things.
Can you give us a little bit of history of the band, where it came from, what your organizing principle was? And I know Peter's the most recent member to join, right?
Well, technically, Jeff would be the most. Jeff was the most recent. Jeff is the second drummer and percussionist.
I guess I read an old bio.
Yeah, he joined. He joined in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere 2020.
It's kind of a long, convoluted history, but there was a band called Visudo, which kind of preceded Goose to an extent. I started that with another friend of ours who we write a lot of songs together and things like that. This year we've been writing a lot of songs together this year as well. So it's cool to still be working with him. But yeah, so that there was a band that kind of preceded, and then that dissolved, and there was a little bit of time off, and then we kind of started doing the Goose thing. And for a few years, we were just playing bars and stuff around Connecticut, and I was finishing up school, things like that. And then at a certain point, we decided to start touring and trying to get out on the road. And we went through a handful of different lineups, things like that. And eventually Peter joined the band, and we kind of started to hone in on what our organizing principles were. It took years and a lot of experiences to try to to refine what those were for us, and just kind of zero in on the things that were important and what we wanted to focus on, and what we wanted to be going for.
Peter, I was kind of startled and very impressed to read that when you joined Goose, you weren't even really a keyboard player. I guess guitar was your primary instrument, and you did an amazing amount of on-the-job training. And as we saw last night, and as Goose fans have come to know, you caught on quick.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I had some rudimentary piano lessons when I was 7 or 8 years old or something like that, but there wasn't much in between. And I just started playing guitar when I was younger, and that was kind of like my main thing. And it learned how to, like, all about music and music theory just on the guitar. And when I joined Goose, Rick was like, "Hey, you want to play some keyboards?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And it's kind of grown from there. And I think, like, there was a really strong foundation of keyboards in Goose before I joined the band, so there was a lot of great influence, or like how to approach a lot of the material already recorded that I could listen to and stuff like that. So credit to those other amazing keyboardists who were in the band before me. And
Watching you last night, I never would have mistaken you for a novice keyboardist.
oh, thanks. Thank you.
Indeed. I also want to talk about making records, because that has also not been considered a strong suit of people in the jam band genre, or even the Grateful Dead didn't always have a comfort zone in the studio. They always considered playing live the primary thing, and would go years without even making an album. They really nailed it with American Beauty and Working Man's, and obviously had a huge success within the Dark, but they never felt wholly comfortable in the studio. You guys have made some really nicely crafted studio albums, and you seem to really be comfortable, and you seem to thrive in that environment. Put out 2 records this year, the recent EP Undecided and the album Dripfield, which got tremendous reviews, and a lot of people commented on that. It said, like, you don't expect that from a band that's known for extended improv, like making a concise and thematically good sounding album is a great skill. And so let's talk about you finding that comfort in the studio, and if it was kind of an immediate thing when the band started recording in the studio, if you really were feeling like that experimental environment was suited to you.
Yeah, I mean, I've when I started playing music, my inclination was always towards recording. In middle school, I got a 12 track recorder and like made an album in my parents' basement and sold it around school. Made like $600. It was pretty sweet.
Nice.
But yeah.
Here's item.
Yeah, but yeah, I was just like that was just what I love to do, was just recording. Along the way we kind of got it into the jazz and improvisational thing with Fish and Dead and all of that, and it became kind of just the language that the world that we kind of grew up in a lot of ways. So the emphasis just became on live playing and stuff, but I never really lost that love per se. And then in recent, I mean, it's not super recent now, but there was a certain point in my 20s where I kind of started listening to a lot of current music, current songwriters, and Radiohead, Bon Iver, just all the Justin Vernon stuff, Father John Misty. There's Fleet Foxes was a big one early on. That was kind of the first band, like current band, that I stumbled upon. That I was listening to those early records and it was like, whoa, this is a whole universe. It's very transporting, their records, and that kind of opened up this whole world to me of all this really interesting and creative music that's being made now. So I think that really reignited the passion for recording and making that art form, making records and things you can do in the studio, and how transporting that can be.
Well, it speaks to the quality of your songwriting that the songs stand up as separate objects in the studio without the jams, that they're not just a framework for or an excuse for jamming. That's again, to a songwriter, this is, that's what I came for. So I appreciate it.
Well, appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, David and I, as musicians, have both had the experience of playing with some of our primary role models, and or if you want to use the word heroes, that's fine with me. And it was a pretty out of body experience, to be on a stage with people like that. You guys have experienced that quite a bit. The recent Taboos tour with Trey and his band. Just last night, that Weir fellow wandered onto the stage and did some damage. And Rick, you've had that recent wonderful experiences with Phil, first at the Capitol and then out at the Warfield, and there's more of that coming up, right?
There is, yeah.
That's great to know. That was one of my favorite Phil. I've seen many incarnations of Phil and Friends, and that one really worked, the one that I saw at the Cap. And how did it feel for you guys to be standing, looking over to your right? There's this guy whose records I grew up listening to and wanting to emulate. It must be just amazing for you.
Yeah,
It's unreal.
It is definitely surreal. I mean, especially like Bob Weir. I mean, my parents are they're Deadheads too. Like it's kind of a it was special on like so many levels. Like I've been listening to the Grateful Dead since I was like, very, very young, and it was just kind of like what was music that was being played in the house, like occasionally, and like, along with like stuff like Bob Dylan. Like the Dead are like so foundational for American music in general. So Bob Weir is like an absolute legend. It was such an honor. So yeah, very grateful that he wanted to play with us.
Oh yeah. Well, Rick, I also saw the footage of you try to keep up with Bobby's exercise regimen the other day.
Yeah.
That's a whole other challenge.
It is. Yeah, he's an animal. It's wild.
Yeah. Well, it speaks well for any musician seeking to have a nice long career to follow Bobby's example and stay in shape.
Inspirational.
Yeah. And you, Peter, you mentioned the thing about your parents being Deadheads, and David and I all the time on our radio show and in our experience of going to shows, we see this multi-generational thing taking place. Kids of Deadhead parents now are bringing their kids to Dead shows, and that must be especially evident at something like Playing in the Sand, where it's like a family-friendly event. Well, a lot of alcohol is consumed, but most of it is a family-friendly event, and that must also affect your performance in a way, to have that diversity of ages in a crowd, and a lot of those people may have been hearing you for the first time last night.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Like just walking, I went for a run around like Moon Palace, like where the shows are at. And it is just amazing to see like people are hanging up tapestries, redecorating everything in the hotel. They've got like their whole family out, everyone's like hanging out and enjoying just like the community that has grown here. And it's just like, it's so special to see. So I love this kind of like event here.
Yeah. And you played one before. You played a few years ago at Pitts as well.
2020, yeah. That was, that was when kind of people just started to, that was very early on in our people knowing anything about us or caring or anything like that. So it was very special when we came here in 2020, and we had a blast.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. We got a couple of minutes left here. What are your plans for the near future? What are your ambitions? What are your dreams? What are your goals? Where are we going to see you next?
That's a good question.
I think we mostly just want to keep writing songs and recording them and playing. Getting the show stronger and better. And I'm pretty excited about things we're working on with production and stuff this year. Feels like the team is starting to congeal more, and that's really exciting to just feel the show getting stronger, and filling into that, because it really has been a lot of growth for us in the last couple of years, and it takes time to grow into all of that. So I'm excited to just keep doing that, and keep writing songs and see what we can discover.
You write by yourself mostly? Or in collaboration? Sorry, Gary.
We do kind of. I've always written alone primarily, but it's kind of a combination. There's collaboration, but then also like Peter writes alone and I write alone as well. And so yeah, it's definitely a combination.
I also want to mention you've got a lot of festival activity coming up in the coming year, and you guys have moved up on the bill at these festivals. You know, now you're at or near the headlining status. I know you're going to be at Peach Festival, which is a big favorite this year, and a lot more of that. So people will have a lot of opportunities to see you, and I'm going to seize that opportunity as soon as I can. I hope to make at least one of the shows at the Cap, or maybe I'll totally get goose fever and come to multiple shows. But
Great.
so I hope to see you there. And we're going to let you back out to the beach because it's silly for you to be cooped up in a room down there in the Yucatan.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
having
you,
us.
guys.
It was
Thanks,
great
guys.
to meet you both, and thank you for your time, and thank you for making such great music.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Take care.
All right.
Lovely
Yeah.
gentlemen.
I really enjoyed meeting those guys, and as I said, hope to see them in the very near future. And it bodes so well for the future of this music. You know, not just Grateful Dead music, but musicians who take the impulse to improvise. You know, which is a beautiful thing, and also write great songs. So the kids are all right, as someone once said.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Hey, should we be talking about Nugs and the streaming service and all that stuff, or do we have a minute
Yeah,
to do that,
if
or
we
do we
have
need
a minute,
stage?
sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, well, Nugs, if some of you may be looking at this as a free preview of Nugs.net, and we're hoping that you'll be attracted enough to what they do, not just us BSing between sets, but the quality of the feed is so very good. I've really been in. I mean, I'm watching in my living room tonight, but I see a lot of online music stuff, and they do a wonderful job. And now Nugs has a streaming service. You can subscribe and have access to this immense library, not just Grateful Dead and Dead related stuff, not just Dead and Company, but Wilco and Bruce Springsteen and what all else, tons of other stuff, right?
Yes, indeed. And you know, I'm a fan of Nugs, not just when I'm doing this stuff, but I've derived a lot of musical pleasure from being a big Wilco fan and a big Bruce fan. It's kind of like Christmas every morning when they drop something new. So yeah, Nugs.net. There are many ways to access the music. You can buy shows like this a la carte, or you can buy a whole package. When Dead and Company go out on tour again, we certainly hope we'll be doing this too. And you know, you can buy a whole tour. And I know people who've been doing it. So uh, thanks to Nugs.net, we're so happy to be able to do this. And I guess we'll throw it back to the stage where you'll be visiting with our old friend. Please stand by.
Just
But we're really thrilled to be back tomorrow. We'll have another special guest to be determined.
Yes, if all goes
Uh,
well, we'll have a very special guest to for the between sets thing. And I also just wanted to mention quickly, I'm a Nugs.net artist. I've been posting my live shows to Nugs, so I'm part of the streaming service as well. Check it all out,
Great.
everybody, and thanks again, especially to Jacob Lima for making this little live streaming from home thing possible.
Great. Take care, all.
Some folks trust reason, others trust in might. I don't trust nothing, but I know it come out right. Say it once again now. Well, I hope you understand. When it's done and over, Lord, man is just a man. Playing in the band. Daybreak on the land. Some folks look for answers, others look for fights. Some folks up in treetops, who just looking for their kites. And I can tell you future, oh, just look what's in your hand. But I can't stop for nothing, I'm just playing in the band. Playing in the band. Daybreak on the land. Gone are the days when the axe fall down. You take up the yoke and plow the fields around.